Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. I'm so happy to be here and happy to see all the faces on here. So I am thrilled for our month-end Mojo call. You guys know we usually tap someone on our team who's got mojo, who's got something good happening in their business. And through the summer, I wanted to give you guys some guest speakers, so some non-daring greatly people who've got mojo. And I think Lindsay is a great example of that because if you didn't notice, she just hit RFX, which is the top promotion you can get to in our company. Super exciting. But I think what's really cool about Lindsay is she's very real and very honest. And she'll be the first to tell you that you don't get to RFX overnight and you don't get there easy. And so Lindsay agreed to join us tonight to share some of her mojo and also some of her behind the scenes mojo to tell you what she does and what her suggestions are. So Lindsay, I will turn it over to you. Thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here tonight, you guys. So I'm just going to tell you my story, my real true story, my kind of nitty gritty story. And we're going to talk about belief in this company, belief in ourselves, belief in what this can be, and really about mindset and how that at the end of the day, this business, and I know a lot of people listen to replays, and I'm also one of them, but if you guys are making this a priority to be on right now, and even those who listen to the replay, you are the ones that are going to make something incredible of this business in your life because you're making it a priority. And so mindset is such a huge tool that we have, and you are using it to your advantage. And that is so exciting. That tells me that you're the difference makers. You're the movers and the shakers. You're the leaders of this company. So huge congrats to you guys for being on this, not only this call tonight, but listening or watching the replay, because you're making it a priority, and that's the key to making this whatever you dream it to be. So I'm so excited to talk. This is my favorite part of this business, is leading and training and talking, because I love taking what's possible in people's lives and just pushing you forward and kind of pushing you out of the nest and then watching you flourish and then celebrating you. It's my favorite. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. And Kristen heard me say a little bit before, but I've got one child asleep and one out Pokemon Go hunting. So if you hear some ruckus, I'm really sorry. I'm going to tell you off the bat that I will probably have a face pop in my office and I'll have to tell him to shoo and go away. So I'll tell you my story. So I started this business 3.5 years ago. And I love that in 3.5 years, our lives are completely upside down changed. But I also know that that's not everybody's story. And that's great too. I have a lot of people on my team that have been a part of my team for about 3 years. And they're still at that point where they're almost at level 5. And they're pushing their little booties to level 5. And guess what? It doesn't matter. It does not matter. The time frame does not matter. What matters is that you're consistent, that you're engaged, that you're passionate, that you're fired up, that you know what's coming, and you cannot stand to sit where you are now. You want to explode so that it can completely impact your life in the short, future. So I love that. Whether it's in 2 months and I'm seeing level 5 happen in 2 months, it's crazy, or in 5 years, it doesn't matter. And so get excited about where you're at, wherever you're at in that timeline of RNF, and get excited about what that means for you. So I'll tell you my little story. So previously to RNF, I was actually a labor and delivery nurse. I loved my job. What's so fascinating about Radiant Fields is it's completely changed me into a person I didn't know existed, a leader I didn't know existed. And so the labor and delivery side of me almost feels like an eternity ago. And it's what I always wanted to do. But in the meantime, I'm someone different, and I love who it's empowered me to become. But for the time I was a labor and delivery nurse, I loved my job. It was what I always dreamed of being as a kid. But what I didn't know, however, is that as I had my own family, I have 2 little boys. One at the time was about 2, and one at the time was about 4.5. And I was a night shift worker. So I don't know about you or someone you know, but nights are so hard. To be a night shift worker is just I mean, I think one of the most brutal, things as a job that we can do. So I got to be so exhausted. And I want to kind of get nitty gritty with you guys a little bit about my story, because I want you to understand the desperate place of my heart of where I was. I keep hitting my desk with my jewelry and watching them. I take them off. And so I was so desperate. So here I am, a night shift worker. I would not sleep during the day. I would be a mama during the day. And then I would go straight into work. And so we would eat dinner at 5:30. My husband would come home at 5:45. We would high five, basically. All right, tap in, tap out. I'd take a shower at 6. I'd be out of the door by 6:20. I'd have a report by 6:45, and my shift started at 7 p.m. So then from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., I was on. And I was not only responsible for that mama, but I was responsible for that baby too. And so at that point, for doing that for about 5 years of my life, the excitement and the love of that job started to really wear off. And so I'm not a person that's against working or against doing what you love to do, but I started to feel the responsibility and I was exhausted. And so I was looking at these heart monitor strips. So any of you who have kids or, have kind of been through a labor process with somebody, you know that you go and you got to hook your belly up and you see these heart monitors, right? And you're watching these accelerations and these decelerations. And I couldn't figure out, when I was so exhausted, are these normal, or are these, even if they're just a little bit to the right, they could mean very horrible things, that the placenta isn't doing what it's supposed to do, that the baby isn't getting oxygen. So I started to feel so much stress about, oh my gosh, am I looking at something that's normal, or am I just so tired that I can't tell anymore? So that anxiety it started to skyrocket in my heart, and I was having doctors and, my charge nurses and, having to crash to the OR and all of these things, right? So just to kind of paint that picture, I was exhausted, and I was just trying to be the mom I wanted to be to my kiddos and be the nurse I wanted to be for these patients and for these babies and these moms. And I was doing a terrible job at both of them. And that's the position I was in when I was desperate. So I really want you to think about your own why and where are you desperate? And sometimes we have to get to the place of desperate before we really want to make a change. So where for you are you desperate that you cannot stand to think about going back to work, or you cannot stand to think about not having a retirement? And that's my mom. My mom's on my team, and she can't stand to think about not having retirement, and she would love to retire. What is it for you that your husband is just lost his job, or you just found out you're pregnant, or whatever it is, and you think we're desperate to not, whatever it is, go back to work or work a third job or work a second job or whatever. That's where I was. So I went to my husband. I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm exhausted. I'm not safe in either one of these jobs I have. I would come home from work and sleep for about 4 hours, and then I wouldn't want to miss out on their day. They're little teeny tiny little kiddos, and I know they're going to go to school soon. I was missing out. So he said, well, the problem is we can't make ends meet without you. Oh, they're walking in the door. Sorry, guys. So hang tight when my dog barks and they walk in. We can't make ends meet without you having your nursing salary. We just bought a house. So I'm not sure what to tell you, but we don't have another option. And I always think to myself, and this is something that my mom taught me when, awesome, they're ringing the doorbell. You guys, I'm going to be the worst host in the entire world. I'm so sorry, Kristen. I'm the worst. Okay. See, you're going to regret asking me. I'm so sorry. Okay. So sorry. Okay. So anyways, that's kind of where it was. Levi, scooch on out. So we said, we just bought this house. So we were at this place where I couldn't just not work. And that's where I was. And so if you have people in your funnel that, want to be home or want to, are so desperate for that income, that was us. Okay. So think about that. When you're talking to prospects, send them my story, or there's lots of stories like mine. But that's where we were. I was desperate. And I said, I cannot anymore do this. And so my mom always taught me, there's always a way. My dad, when I was real little, left me. She was the sole provider for me and my two brothers, and she would always teach me, there's always a way. If you want it, there's always a way. And I had that in my mind of, there's got to be a way. I can't take this for an answer. So that's where I was. So I started to watch some kids out of my house as a little in-home daycare center so I can make ends meet. And that's where I was for about 6 months. And at the same time that was happening, I don't know if you guys know, but my husband's actually a pastor, and he was pastoring a church that was starting a campaign that we really, truly believed in. So we decided to give really generously to this campaign. So here I was, just left this nursing career, just left this nursing salary, and we just pledged a lot of money to something that we really believe in and really wanted to see happen. But now I'm making $35 a day watching kids. So we were really concerned. So we were at that point taking our junk drawer, and I would open it up and I would search for quarters. You kind of throw change in that little drawer, and I would search for quarters. And I would take my kids to Taco Bell for a big lunch out. And that was a big deal to us. It's all we could afford. So I knew that burritos cost 89 cents. So I would find like 89 cents in the drawer, and we'd go to Taco Bell before preschool. And that was a big deal that we could figure it out. That's where I was. So if someone says to you, I don't have the money to start, guess what? It's all in how much they believe in this business and how much they trust you. Because then I heard from my very deep, sweet friend, dear friend, Allie Spitzbergen, and a lot of you guys know who she is, but she is this incredible RFX leader now, Circle, and she reached out to me and she said, Lindsay, I have found this most amazing business. You have to look at it. And I always say that immediately I knew this business was going to be incredible. I still, however, had the normal fears that everybody does. I said, Allie, I love you. I think you're cute and sweet, but that's not for me. So I turned her down. How many of us turned down the person that brought us on? Right? Me. A lot of us said no right away. We all thought, weird. No, thank you. Right? Yes. So I said, first of all, Allie, I've tried this before and I failed at it. I did a jewelry company, and I was awful. Before I found, when I finished my nursing NCLEX, the boards, basically nursing boards, and before I found a nursing job, I did a jewelry company. That blows my mind. We had to finance it. It was more than RNF is. It was like $3,000 or $4,000 to do this jewelry company, and we had to finance it. And I failed at it. And I was awful, and I was losing people's checks, and it didn't go well. It was just awful. So I said, Allie, I've tried something like this. I wasn't good. So if any of your prospects say, oh, I tried Mary Kay, I tried whatever else, I mean, they're all probably legitimate, but for me, I failed. So when I went to my husband and I said, hey, I have this thing. I want to talk to you about this thing that I think I could be good at. He's like, oh, Lindsay, you're cute, but we've tried this and it didn't go well. And I said, but I know, however, I think this is different. I really do. And so the other thing I said to Allie is that I don't want to sell to my friends. I don't want my friends to think I'm weird or creepy or stalking them or obnoxious. And so I really am concerned about that. And so, but as I felt those really real feelings, and I think it's good to know that we feel those real feelings because everyone does. And we did. And so it's okay. And we don't have to get freaked out that our prospects are feeling those feelings. It's okay. We just validate them and then show them how it's been different than we thought and how much better it's been than we thought. So I was in that state, and Allie had just signed up 2 days before I did, so she didn't know what the heck she was talking about. But she said, I don't know. But I took it to my dad, who's a successful business lawyer and business investor, and he said, Allie, not only do you have to do this at some point, you have to do it right now. And so I said, okay, you know what? I'm in. I have so much to gain. I have literally nothing to lose with that 60-day money-back guarantee. Let's go for it. So I jumped in, and I know you hear this a lot, but honestly, this business has changed our lives and completely put it upside down. And we always talk about the different ways, right? The perks are awesome. everything, from the trips to the cars, bracelets, they're so awesome. And I have figured out that that's kind of my love language. I love being recognized and appreciated by the company, by other people. So I love that part, but it's kind of that icing on the cake. It doesn't really matter, but it's sure nice. But from a financial perspective, you guys, just so you can understand how this business changes lives, is in the first 6 months of my business, I had matched my nursing salary. Now, there's been ups and there's been downs because that's real, true business. And so right when I started this business, the Macro E came out and it skyrocketed. And I had a paycheck of like $2,000 in my first 2 months of business because I was fired up about that macro exfoliator. Well, guess what? What's coming in a couple months, that's what's going to happen to your paychecks. They're going to double, they're going to triple, they're going to quadruple, which is mind-blowing. And you're going to get brand new consultants and brand new PCs. And then, just to give you a heads up, it's going to come back down and level down just a little bit for like a month or two. But then that natural growth is going to sustain you to keep going up and to the right. And that's exactly what happened. And so over the next 3 years, this company, this business, working this awesome business around my crazy family schedule, moving across the country from Chicago to Las Vegas, my son's walking in and ringing the doorbell, going Pokemon Go hunting. But that's what this is, and it's turned into a multiple six-figure income. That blows my mind. Now, that did not fall from the sky. It did not. And I have worked really hard. And how am I working hard? Well, I'm working hard by never taking a break on sharing what this can do. You guys, reading the blogs of what this is doing for people, watching my friends, looking at Jamie and all those in Team Give and Maisha and so many, Becca O'Leary and Nikki Christensen, who's my direct or my upline, and Allie. This business, when people take it seriously and it's consistent, changes people's lives. I'm watching it with my mother-in-law and my mom, all in their 60s wanting to do this for retirement. It does not matter how old you are. You could be 18 and fired up and have an entrepreneurial spirit, or you can be 65 and you're tired of working for somebody else, and it doesn't matter. The reason we can do that is because these products do what they say they're going to do. Do we have PCs that sometimes say, whine and complain that it wasn't magic cream? Sure, because that's how people are sometimes. And so I had to really learn quickly to not take things personally, that, if someone was upset about they didn't see, magic in the mirror in the first 30 days, I had to say, you know what, that makes my heart so sad that you are not loving it. I would suggest, first of all, giving it that first 60 days. And if you're not loving it at that point, let's connect. And if they don't, for some crazy reason, then say, oh my gosh, you know what? I love you so much. And that makes my heart sad. But you do what's right for you. I think we can tweak it a little bit, but let's talk it through. And if they return it, guess what? Onward and upward. We find the next one, because I know these products do what they say they're going to do. Sometimes I think people have unrealistic expectations. It's just the truth. And that goes for business and the products. And that's okay. But if we can give that great training of, hey, take a before picture, or hey, let's talk through your goals, let's talk through your why, how fast you want to go. Let me teach you how to do that. And if you're coachable and you're consistent, this will turn into what you want it to be. And so that's kind of my story. It has grown into something I never imagined, and I have made the very best friends of my entire life because of this company. But like I said, it didn't fall into my lap. And I was so passionate about telling everybody I knew about the business. And yes, I knew the products would be amazing, but I never once tried a product before I enrolled. I had a midi facial. But I didn't try a regimen. I didn't try the products for 60 days. I did none of that. And I really encourage my consultants to not do that. Well, why? Because you're going to love the products. And in the meantime, go make a profit. Don't wait for that time. You're going to get those products in a business kit anyways. Let's just run. Let's go for it. Let's do this thing. So I talk about the business basically only, and I then default to the products. And I think that's what caused me to kind of, jump in title, is because I was so passionate about what this was going to do for myself and my life that I knew it was going to do that for other people. So I tell you that story because at the end of the day, we get to decide what this business does for us. And like I said, those of you that are on this call tonight and watching the replay, you are the leaders of this team. You are going to have your own teams if you don't already. You're going to empower them. They can make this into whatever they dream it to be. I never in a zillion years thought this would happen. I was opening quarters to find 89 cents. And that's what this does. And so I really want you to have the belief. And so if you don't have the belief, that's where you need to start. You need to start with your why. What makes you desperate? What are you desperate for in your life? Do you want to take your kids on vacation? Do you want to retire? Do you want to travel? Really get gritty. What is that for you? And go beyond just your why of, I want to make extra money so I can help with the bills. No. What do you crave? Do you crave more time with your husband so he can be home? Do you crave more time with your kids? What do you crave? And what do you dream of in a year from now? If you could make your dream life in a year from now, what would that look like? Write it down and talk about that with Kristen or your direct. And then secondly is, do you truly believe that this can make that happen? And if you can't say yes to that yet, then I encourage you to continue listening to these calls, go read those blogs. Because what happened is Allie sent me a message, and she sent me a message with not only just a little bit of information about this business, but she sent me Sarah Robbins' video. Now, I love Sarah Robbins. I love all of our leaders. But Sarah Robbins' video is a little bit over the top. It's her and her Mercedes and going on hot air balloon rides and whatever. But guess what? I saw that and I thought, why not me? If she can do it, why can't I do that? So, I really thought with my entire heart and soul, there wasn't an ounce of me that did not believe that this was going to be what I dreamt it to be. And so you have to ask yourself, do you truly believe that this could be the vehicle that you're asking, that you're hoping it will be? And if you say, yes, I'm watching this happen over and over and over and over and over with so many people, I believe this can be me too, then the next part is, what's your mindset? What are you doing to consistently, is it loud? Should I shut that door? It's going to get dark. It's going to get dark for a second. My husband just got home. What are you guys doing to make that mindset a reality? So are you consistent? Are you passionate? Are you doing the things that it takes to make that a reality? Are you talking to 5 people passionately every day? And if you're rising in title, which is amazing, don't forget to continue to feed yourself and be listening and reading listening to the calls or reading the books of, the 21, attributes of leadership by John Maxwell. And, just these awesome resources we have. Are you feeding yourself so that you can empower your team? Because what you believe will happen. And I know that sounds stupid, but it's just the truth. But there's a quote by Henry Ford, and he says, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. And that's it for me, is I never for a minute believed that this was not going to turn into what I knew it could. So I just didn't take no for an answer. And I had to be really careful about not taking things personally from my friends and my family. And my mom didn't order from a customer for like months. And then she turned into my business consultant. And so, I just couldn't take things personally. And I knew that if someone said no to me, they weren't saying no to me and my friendship and my relationship. They were saying no to that opportunity for that moment. But I had to go replace it with other conversations. And so Allie would always say to me, all right, Linz, you had a no today, and that happens. Go replace it with 5 new conversations. So I would make it my mission to go replace that no, or that, that wasn't a defeat by any means, but that just, turned down, rejection, I guess. I don't know. But I had to become detached from the outcome, and I had to become attached to the activity. So I became attached to the activity I was doing. I was talking to at least 5 people verbally every day, whether that was my kids' friends or whether that was, someone I just bumped into in the Target, shopping line, and we would chit chat about the shoes I have on or whatever. And I would say, oh my gosh, your daughter's adorable. How old is she? And, you just kind of make small talk, and then you say, oh my gosh, well, yeah, do you get to stay home with her? That's so amazing. And she'll say, yeah, I do. It's awesome. And then I'll say, I love it. I get to stay home with my kiddos too. I'm so thankful I found a company that allows me to work from home, and all of my friends as well. And they'll say, oh my gosh, well, what do you mean? And then I'll get to kind of roll into it. So I was just passionate about having some samples on me, going to Chick-fil-A and sitting in the little play area and making friendships, or, whatever it is. But I was talking to a lot of people every day. And so, that's what I had to do. If I had one person that says, no thanks, I love you, but I'm good without, I'll say, no problem, I appreciate you, but guess what? I am so passionate about what this is going to do that I would love to know who you are thinking of in your mind that might be amazing, because I'm really about building such an awesome, not only business, but really allowing this business to change people's lives because of the legitimacy of the company, the credibility of these doctors and these products. I know it can change people's lives. And so would love to know who you might know in your network that is looking for an opportunity to really, have a difference in their own lives. So I was just passionate, and I was excited, and I was just kind of had this contagious personality that people wanted to know, what are you excited about? What are you doing? Why are you so excited? And people want to follow that excitement. They want to follow this contagious, draw. And when they trust you and they love you already, they are drawn to you because they know that, all right, if you think something's great and I already know you and I trust you, then maybe I should think about that. And so that in turn starts the conversation. So it's all about our mindset. If we believe something can happen, then we can go make it happen. And we make it happen by having these conversations, by continuing every day to have those conversations. And then if you have a team, there was an incredible training call done a long time ago. And Kristen, you probably remember this too, but there was this 5-3-2 kind of call where you're reaching out to 5 new people a day. You're talking, you're following up with 3 people a day from the day before, and then you're talking to at least 2 people from your downline a day as well. So 5-3-2 is kind of the minimum that we should be doing every day. Now, what's interesting about that is, do you notice where the bulk of that time is going? 5-3-2. The 5 and the 3 is on prospecting, and not prospecting in the sense of, trying to get people into a business and this whole, I don't know. I think that here in Vegas, we've got a big pyramid scheme phobia. And so it's not we're trying to dupe people into giving us their money. You guys know that that's not the case. From a genuine place of our hearts, we know this can change their life. And so that 5 and that 3 really is about you sharing this gift with other people. And so I want you guys to be spending 75 to 80% of your time talking to your new direct, possible directs and your network, because that's what's going to motivate not only yourself to stay excited and then launch a new person, but your team is going to watch what you're doing. And so your team, on average, will do about 50% of what you do. And so if you know that and you're leading by example, then you can know that if you're having those conversations, having those 3-way calls, following up with good articles and good maybe some blogs that you can send to somebody that's a perfect fit, then what happens is not only is your business growing because you're going to have new consultants with those opportunities, but your team's going to ask you, hey, I've got this person, I don't know what the right next step is. And then you can say, perfect example. I just went through this and here's what I did. Maybe that can help too. And so when we're doing the same things and we're doing, the things that we would never ask our teams to do if we're not able to do it ourselves, then that allows us to be the leaders that our teams really need us to be as well. So I'll kind of end with this, is that there is so much coming. And I know that if you've been a part of this business, you've heard us say that before. But you kind of also look at like Jamie Peterson. And when I came in 3.5 years ago, she wasn't RFX Circle with where she is now. And so for us to say, hey, there's so much coming, it's the truth, because now you look where she's at, and that's where you can be in 3 years from now, because this company is sold out to making this brand something that has never been seen before. And there is so much coming, not only now, but in the years to come. They have enough things lined up for, I think they said, the next 10 years of what's to come. And so if you guys grasp that and you run right now, there is literally no telling where your lives will be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now. So that's why it goes back to your dream. What do you dream? What are you desperate for? How fast do you want it? What do you really believe this company can do? And where's your mind? Where are you putting your time and your efforts? Because of that, if you put all of your time and effort right now into running like crazy, what's going to happen in the next 2 months is something that you won't even understand is happening. And it's so exciting, and I can't wait to celebrate with you. And some people are just joining right now, and they're excited and they want to grow like crazy, and they just want to hit EC, and 600 feels like a big huge mountain, because I remember that feeling. And I remember calling my mom and I said, Mom, I've got like one more order before my first promotion. She was like, good for you, yay. I'm like, hello, can you order please and get me there? She's like, no, I'm not quite ready. So I remember that mountain, right? And we all go through that. But their mountain, that 600, it's going to seem like nothing to them in 2 months from now because of what's coming. And so I look back and I remember when the Macro E came out, and I joined in February, and the Macro E came out in February, but then I don't know if you guys are around, but it sold out and they had to re-come out in April. So I had February and March to grow my business. And that's where you guys are at right now, right? So you're at basically September and October. My income went from $287 my first month to, I think, maybe like $601 my second month, to $1,800 my third month because of that product launch. And that is where we're headed. Now, the reason that happened is because I was sold out to growing my business for those 2 months before that product came out. I knew something was coming. I knew the Macro was coming. And I knew if I could grow as big as I can before it comes back out and have those PCs mine, or those consultants, be with me and run with me, that it was going to have this explosion in the next 2 months. And sure enough, it did. And so that's where I want to encourage you guys, is run like crazy. What is about to happen, you guys? I know it's coming. It's awesome. And it doesn't exist right now. It does not exist over the counter, and it's awesome. So you guys have this opportunity right now for yourselves, for your teams, for your prospects, to have something that can truly change your life. And it can be the click for somebody who's thinking about the business. And if you say, hey, if we do this now, I'm telling you what, this can be something huge for you in 2 months, and in 6 months, and a year from now. Let's run. Let's not wait. Because what happens is, if you have someone on your chicken list or list, and if they have someone in their network that could be incredible, I promise you someone else thinks the same thing. So help them, catch that vision of, let's get to them and let's help them see what this is now, before this whole, new product thing comes. And then lots of people are reaching out like crazy because it's awesome. So I'm just so thrilled for you guys. And I really want you to know from the bottom of my heart that I truly believe that anything you dream to happen, whether it's little or big, or you just want the mortgage, or you just want a couple car payments, or whatever it is, or you just want your husband to get off your back about your Target bill, which was maybe me a little bit. to something you never dreamed possible. Yes, it takes work. And yes, there's ups and downs. And yes, I had to learn to become emotionally really neutral, that maybe someone would be awesome, maybe they'd stink, but I'll stay in the middle ground because I believe in them. And it's really ultimately up to them. I had to learn that because this can be an emotional roller coaster, but if you stay emotionally neutral and bring this gift to anybody that you know, I'm telling you what, it's going to be something you never thought possible. So I'll wrap it up, Kristen, and hand it back to you. So thanks for having me on. I'm so excited for what is possible for all that's on your team. I know you have a lot coming and a lot of exciting things happening. So thrilled for you guys, and just can't wait to hug your cute little necks at convention when you come to my hometown and celebrate with you guys.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. I think I love getting to do this video thing because I love seeing just the genuine enthusiasm in your face. So thank you for joining us and for being willing to join us on video.
Totally.
And just sharing, like, honestly, what you've done and what you've grown is so exciting and wonderful. So we'll let you go, tuck your sweet little boys into bed, but thank you very much. And we will see you in your hometown in Vegas in a couple weeks.
All right. Bye, you guys. Good luck. Go rock it out.